G'day guys, back with the Circle, and today, the Road to Thramas Part 6. This came out a couple days ago. However, instead of just talking about it straight away, I decided to go and just snoop around on the different conversations people were having about this. I then posted a couple of the screenshots of conversations I witnessed on our Outer Circle Facebook page, and then read some of the feedback to that. The reason why is because I don't want to be making this fucking video. Seriously, straight out the gate. Kat and I want to make a video where we discuss the different power levels of units and rank them Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4 for Horus Heresy. So that, not so much that people know how to build an overpowered list, but so people understand what we think are the more fluffy choices to take in an army, what we think would be more thematic, and units that you should probably avoid if you're trying to play for fun, or units that you may find frustrating to play with. That, to me, is a much more interesting video. And yet we have this, which needs to be talked about. And, well, it takes much, much more time for Kat and I to go through every unit that exists in the Horus Heresy and put together a video on that than it takes to do this article. And this is more pertinent because this is happening right now. So, they released this. We get this interesting map, which instead of showing the galaxy being divided between traitors and loyalists, it has sort of patches of the galaxy, almost like islands in the Pacific in World War II being divided between Imperial Japan and the Allied forces. You have essentially left out huge chunks of the map. Nocturne, for example, Chemnos, Shogris, loyalist and traitor planets alike, for some reason. Nobody seems to own those in the middle. I don't know, it's almost like it's just a half-assed map. It makes no sense to me. In any case, this is the thing people said they liked the most. And then you go down, and it's all units we already have seen, and it's just pictures of them, a couple of pictures from the book. This is getting lazy at this point, and it's not just me that thinks it. I'm going to read now some excerpts. Forge World, please take a long, hard look at yourself. Then take an even harder and longer look at how Games Workshop teases and previews releases. This is so utterly disappointing. You really need to pull something out of the bag here, considering the silence you have given fans of Horus Heresy. Quite frankly, the virus is no excuse. Games Workshop found ways around it. Many other companies have as well. You could have seized this opportunity to give fans of the Horus Heresy some good in-depth rules and previews. You seem to think that by keeping your upcoming products under wraps, it brings a level of suspense to everyone's lives. It doesn't, and fans actually don't want this in any way. This was a huge missed opportunity for you guys, and despite what fans of the Horus Heresy keep telling you, you refuse to listen to them. Another person commented, wow, it's sure, because the people were saying, oh look, this is proof that Night Lords use tanks. Yes, people know Night Lords use tanks. We know they prefer terror tactics with assault troops, but we also know they're not dumb. They use tanks because tanks are valuable on the battlefield. And yet, people were saying, see, Night Lords use tanks. To which they got responses like, fascinating how the Night Lords totally use tanks that I'm sure have a high profit margin. Land Raider, not so much, but yeah, Glaives, or Felglaives in this case, and Aquator Bombards are very expensive resin tanks. Another person commented, it's getting to be an awfully long road, guys, when they previewed the Road to Thramas. Then we've got some more comments. How's this one? They're Warhammer fantasying the Horus Heresy into the ground. For the first time, I'm genuinely concerned they are just waiting to discontinue it. Games Workshop didn't tell Forge World about 8th edition till 2 weeks before release. After Alan Bly died, Horus Heresy has been declining. It was his baby. Massive purge of products. Now Forge World is going to be folded back into Games Workshop. Wall of text incoming, apologies, but need to vent frustration in a constructive way. I think Forge World had a golden opportunity to release something for Heresy players this Monday. The pandemic has affected all of us, and a lot of people, me included, the author of this piece, not me, Macca, we look to the hobby as one of the few things that you can lose yourself in and just forget about the nightmare outside. Instead, we got an article with a map. The map was nice, 1 point for that, he says. And a statement, guys, did you know that the Night Lords and Dark Angels use tanks? Followed by a hollow, vague statement of the book coming out later this year. Let's compare this to the release and teasing of 9th edition. The announcement was made about a month ago, I believe, and we've seen tons of stuff. About a couple of dozen kits incoming for 2 factions. New rule set which is a lot tidier than 8th and a step in the right direction. Amazing new artwork, advancement of the storyline, and generally some really cool stuff. I'm an avid Heresy player and have been running my page, Iconic Warriors, for about 10ish months now, because I love sharing my progress with the hobby. I feel betrayed, discarded, and just forgotten by Forge World acting like this. They could have written anything other than this. A rules preview for the companions, for example. A Dark Angel's Rite of War. Maybe a teaser for a different Rite of War for another Legion if they're truly giving everyone 3 like the Night Lords. Those examples I came up with on the spot, and I'm not a writer or even close to one. Any of those would have been better than what we got. Instead, we just have an article prefaced with the statement, "We know you guys have felt abandoned. Don't worry, you haven't been forgotten." That actually says something closer to, "We acknowledge your feelings of abandonment, but are doing nothing about it," or the equivalent of leaving a message on Scene. Forge World cherry picks the responses they get, and even when I commented with a fairly sharp comment, they flipped it and gave me a bland response which made it clear they hadn't understood the meaning of the simple phrase, "A better way would be to release Book 9, and them thanking me for my patience. I've been discussing this in several chats, WhatsApp groups, and to gauge people's opinions, and while there are people who blindly defend Forge World with a, "but everything else is being pushed back, this is just like that, everyone needs to be patient," there are a lot of people who regard this as the final straw with the Heresy. Forge World clearly does not care about the Heresy community in any meaningful way. Forge World commented on someone's reply, and I felt the follow-up response is 100% appropriate. I've attached the response as a screenshot just to capture the feeling of it. Thanks for reading, lovely people. Hope it wasn't too oppressive to read. By the way, the screenshot he refers to is Forge World saying, "Thanks, we're doing everything we can to get to Book to 9 and all the accompanying awesomeness out to you guys. We'll keep you posted when we have news to share, but we can assure you we have not been forgotten." To which someone responded, "We can assure you that your wallets have not been forgotten." Let's see, another comment. Like, why the fuck would I want to see different coloured vehicles that have already been released? They're not even painted models, they're just photoshopped side profiles with a little snippet of, "Oh, and so was a Night Lord tank, like, yes, I have eyes, I can fucking see it's a Night Lord's tank." And like the one guy said, notice how they pick the tanks at the biggest markup. They also just so happen to be absolutely terrible for $400 Canadian after shipping kits. But I ramble, essentially fuck these dicks, I piss in their face. Another response, looking to be the most underwhelming book by far. At least book 8 had Scars, Blood Angels, DOTRS, Demons of the Ruinstorm, with a reprint of Custodes fixing their rules. Book 9 looking to be just Dark Angels, even if they pull out a lot of Night Lord stuff in it, what else? Reprint Custodes in Book 9 2 times back to back. Horus Heresy is just a disaster at the moment. With the criminal price hikes and lack of releases, I've seen more third-party 3D printed China casts on the tables, more than I thought was acceptable or possible. Then we get to the really sad truth. People are starting to write their own rules for characters that Forge World should have released years ago. But the thing that makes me laugh harder than any of these points is that a third party has actually managed to legitly balance rules for both Necrons and Eldar in 30k in the same time it has taken Forge World to release Book 8 and some utterly appalling, I believe he refers to Book 9 here, and some utterly appalling tanks that have no mention in any books previously. It's a total kick in the nuts for actual fans. I'm starting to wonder how many people are supposed to make an army that actually looks like a specific legion anymore, because they've discontinued most of the armor marks, most of the shoulder pads. I think every legion now has one mark of shoulder pads at most. Most of the vehicle doors. Is everyone just expected to buy 10 transfer sheets, slap as much iconography on their armies as they can with that? The entire fuck-uppery is just taking more from the game we all originally fell in love with. Alan Bly would be ashamed of them. RIP. The games have not been the same since. There's also the last chance to buy travesty they came up with. For example, if a recaster site has, for example, Mark II Marines and they are of good quality while being cheap as hell, I will definitely buy them. All of this is Forge World's fault. They also quietly deleted a comment thread on that post that was asking them why they're not instead talking about the 80 plus products they've quietly removed from the Forge World web store in the last week. I really wish I'd taken a screenshot of it now. I was so disappointed with this. Being a Dark Angels player, when I saw the Night Lord's tanks, albeit generic tanks pictured in Night Lord's colours, teased, I thought it was an article building up to a Night Lord's model release and I was excited till I scrolled down to the very end and saw nothing. I mean, what are they actually playing at? It felt like a poor attempt to justify buying expensive tanks in Night Lord's players' behalves, or being more pessimistic, justifying the reason why they're not going to do fuck all with their Legion. What happened to those Terminators they previewed? Where's their other stuff? Also, all they've got is 2 characters and a epoxy head upgrade packet. At least Dark Angels have got 2 squads and have been shown a third along with their Primarch. It's funny because in the same time that they haven't released Book 9, Games Workshop released the Primaris Kitty Bunker. Virus didn't stop them there. I don't get it. The Night Lords literally had tanks. They even had Leviathan Dreadnoughts. I do agree this latest Road to Thramas was just literally a, hey, it's going to be available later this year, and that was it. Kind of lackluster. And that's a person that's being pretty conciliatory. They're like, well, you know, they've got tanks and stuff, I get it. Another person says it's the root canal to Thramas. So that's just an inkling of some of the messages that have been coming in when I didn't even give my opinion. I just put some pictures out there and said, hey, what do people think? And this is the kind of feedback I'm getting. Now, who's got their finger more on the pulse of the common sort of gamer here, Forge World? Me, the guy who's listening to them, who really appreciates the support he gets, and takes the feedback and actually goes through and reads all the comments, even if there's 600 comments on a video with Arch Warhammer that seem to mostly talk about communism and fascism. Or the company that can't even be asked to show us preview painted models for the box game. For their book that's, should have been in print already? I don't get it. It's been, 18 months more than that since the Blood Angels and the White Scars and Book 8 came out. This time out, there's only one Legion that needs rules, the Dark Angels, and most of the rules were already there, printed in Book 6, 4 years ago. Okay? This is getting pretty fucking shonky, and as you can hear, people are pissed, and this is just a small snippet of them. I just picked the first ones that popped up when I opened up my page. If I go onto the Forge World actual post that's saying, hey, look at this, or the Warhammer Community actual post with this in it, it is full of, it's basically one of 2 comments. Either people going, oh, it's fantastic, I'm so stoked, I can't wait to start a Dark Angels army, as well as some pictures of the stuff they're working on, like the community team cares. And then the next comment is usually people going, what the fuck, you just got rid of 80 models and didn't tell anyone. Which gets no response. And then, to make it worse, we hop on last night, go to look at some tanks. Aurochs. No longer available, sold out. Mechanicum Ordinatus Sagittar. No longer available, sold out. This is important. Sold out means gone. You see, temporarily out of stock, that means getting repackaged. Or molds out for repair, something like that. Sold out? Sold out means gone. And that's very interesting, especially for the Aurochs, because the Aurochs is basically just a parts kit for a Carnodon battle tank, which is still, temporarily out of stock, but still available. It's just got side hatches instead of side gun sponsons, and instead of the turret on top, it has a hatch. Apart from that, it's the exact same kit. And then you've got the Mechanicum Ordinatus Ulator, which is the noise cannon variant, the sonic cannon variant of the vehicle, is still available, but the Bellicosa volcano cannon version is not. What the hell is going on here? I really want to know. I think the company is just, Forge World in particular, their staff are just dragging their feet something fierce now. because frankly, there is zero support being given to the Horus Heresy, and it makes it hard when I want to do Horus Heresy content, because it's a great game and had a massive, fantastic player base, and exactly the moment Alan Bligh dies is the exact moment that the amount of support given to the game ceased to exist. You can actually chart it on a graph. In fact, I did so in an episode a little while back, charted it on a graph, and the releases, you can actually see them drop off, taking 4, 6, 8, even 12 times longer in some instances for some products. It is insanity. Why? Why don't you care? This is not something you can just sit on for 2 or 3 years, Forge World, and then dump a black book and think all is forgiven and people are going to go out and spend a bunch of money on heresy armies. It doesn't work like that. You should understand well enough from Games Workshop proper's business model, which is hype, 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 hype. People who are hyped up, amped up for something, go out and buy it. They can't wait to get their hands on it. Look at 9th edition. It's being amped up for the last month. People can't wait to get their hands on Indomitus. The shills, they've already got their fucking boxes, and they're already telling people how bloody great the game is, even though they were always going to say that. The thing is, you're not doing that. You're thinking that the hype is just going to hang around. It doesn't. If people are only into the Horus Heresy, and they've lost their hype, they're out. There's plenty of these people out there already who are just like, I can't be stuffed. I don't think the Heresy's going to get support enough. I don't get enough games in, yada yada. And they pull the pin on it. And then you've got that group of people who, yeah, they're into the Heresy, but they're also into like 40k or Age of Sigmar, or maybe their area mostly plays 40k or Age of Sigmar, or Kill Team, something else like that. And they're like, well, I think it's a better investment for me with my limited funds to go down that route. And so you have someone who would have played this game, and they're going to go off now and spend on that game instead. You're shooting yourself in the foot is what I'm getting at. So, please, Forge World staff, pull your heads out of your asses, listen to your fucking community. You are not above us. You don't dictate to us what we want and what we buy. It's the reverse. We have the purchasing power. We come to you with what we want, and it is your job to supply it. If you don't want to, that's fine. We have no obligation then to shop with you. And you're seeing it. You're seeing people saying, hey, I now have no reason to shop with you. I'm going to buy Recast. Is that what you want? To have a 100% market share where people are only coming to you to buy their stuff, but you fuck them over so they go elsewhere. Is that what you want? To piss it all away. I think it's pathetic. So yeah, this video I didn't want to fucking make. I wanted to do a fun video going through units going, hey, this is good for these reasons. This is bad for these reasons. And we've now ranked these things in order of, if you take stuff from this tier, if you want to play really fluffy, fun lists that people are going to enjoy playing against, yada yada. That will be a fun video. This is not. This is horrible. I don't want to be making this kind of content. I want to be making content about the things I enjoy. And I hate always having to be the guy that has to come out and say, here's the things that you're doing wrong. Because it sucks. Because then all the community thinks of is that I'm that guy who's going to come out and just piss on everything. And he's full of salt, even if I'm 110% right, which is this situation right here. Pull your finger out of your ass. Show some painted models. Not the same tanks, dreadnoughts, and characters you've been showing for 6 or 8 months on your website. Nobody cares about side profile shots of tanks. Okay? If you actually put a real Legion Aquator Bombard painted up in Nightlord's colours, and a real, actually converted Land Raider, not just something that's painted in that Legion's colours, like you've got with the Dark Angels tanks here, like, oh, look, they're painted like Dark Angels. It's like, yeah, okay, why don't you do something with that? Like, actually do a Nightlord's converted Land Raider. Have chains and corpses and stuff hanging off it, and bits of a banner made out of torn human flesh, and heads and trophies and shit. Show that you invested and you give a fuck. Right now you don't. You're not doing anything right now that the fans can't do. It's pathetic. Be a real business. Lead by example. Make people want to come to you and buy your product because what they think you're doing is cool. Don't just act like we're just sheep waiting around to drop money on you and you'll fucking release something when you feel like it. Fuck me, how hard is it to run a company? People want to give you money. Do you know how hard that is? How many businesses would kill to be in your position? And you're throwing it away. You're just throwing it away. I'm back with the outer circle. Thank you all for watching this annoying, sad episode, and I'll see you all next time.